we have some catching up to do. So as the title of this video would suggest, I am pregnant. We are expecting our first baby in June of 2024. We're both really excited, and I just want to share with you guys like how we found out. At this point in the pregnancy, I'm about 17 and a half weeks, so almost to the halfway point, which is exciting and terrifying at the same time. I'm always short of breath, so bear with me for that. So the way that we found out was kind of funny. We had been actively trying for 2 months. Before that, we were open to getting pregnant, but COVID kind of ruined our wedding plans back in 2020. And so we had planned a 2023 vow renewal. Since I had already bought my dress and it was such an expensive day, I didn't want to feel sick and tired. So we did want to put off getting pregnant till after that event passed. And we were successful in that. So after it was over, it was so beautiful. I loved it. But after it was over, we were like, okay, we're ready to start trying to start a family. We've been married for 3 years. We felt like we had a strong foundation in our marriage, and we had really had time to enjoy that honeymoon stage and just like the sweetness of being newlyweds. My husband had also had time to finish school and get started in his career, and we just felt like we were ready for that next step of parenthood. So the first month when it didn't happen, I was a teensy bit worried, just because we had been not trying for so long and been successful, and it just seems like some people get pregnant on accident so easily. And so my automatic like intrusive thought was, what if one of us has fertility issues? I know this sounds kind of silly. It was only 1 month, and a lot of people try for a lot longer, but I was also tracking my ovulation when we were trying to get pregnant, so I don't know. I went to the worst case scenario. The second month was kind of crazy. We had a lot going on. We had made the decision to move in with family temporarily while we either saved for a house purchase or just figured out what the next steps were for us. Here we are. We had to pack. We had a trip planned for that month, and we had to say goodbye to everyone. I was also trying to build up an archive of videos so that I didn't have to film during the move and shortly after the move. And long story short, I was very, very stressed out. So maybe like less than a week before the actual move, we decided to go to sushi with my sister. There was this really good sushi place by our house, and since we were moving away from that area, we were like, let's go before it's too late. But as you know, in America at least, it is not advised that you eat raw sushi while pregnant. So since we were trying, I decided just to take a test and see, you know, why not? Just to be on the safe side before I went and stuffed my face with all you can eat. So I took the test. It was negative, and honestly, I was okay. So I took the test. It was negative, and I was disappointed. Obviously, you know, like we were actively trying. I was hoping for a baby, but I just reminded myself, you know, we can continue to try. A no now doesn't mean a no forever. So we went, we enjoyed our sushi, and that was that. Even though we had only been trying for 2 months at this point, I had been hoping for maybe like a year to a year and a half. Like I said, we were not trying actively. We were more avoiding, but sometimes I would be a couple days late on my period, and I would like hope that it was positive. I would picture myself as a mom holding a baby or even being pregnant and knowing that there was a life in my womb. And I would start to become even convinced that my PMS symptoms were pregnancy symptoms. And I would be really hopeful. And I would tell my husband, I think I'm pregnant and I'm going to take a test. And he would always say, you're not pregnant, but go ahead. And every time he was right. And, you know, there were like several times where there was a lot of disappointment in that, even though we weren't trying yet. You know, I just felt increasingly more and more ready. And I also think there was a part of me that expected it to happen really fast, like on the first try. I didn't think that it would take potentially months. You know, I know for some people it can take years. I didn't think that would be the case for us. So having 2 negatives in a row just, you know, it wasn't great news. But I digress. So after the move, it was like 1 or 2 days after the move. It was almost immediate. I was like 1 or 2 days late on my period. Normally, like I said, I was the one to be like, I'm late, my boobs hurt, I'm pregnant. But this time I didn't feel that way. And I think it's because I had already taken the pregnancy test and it was negative. So I was like, I know I'm not pregnant. I've been late on my period before. It's the stress from the move. Because like I said, I was extremely stressed out all month. But that day my husband comes like bursting into the room and he was like, you're pregnant. Take a pregnancy test. You're giving me my air. And I was like, you're wrong. I've already taken a pregnancy test and it was negative. So you're wrong. And he was like, I know you're pregnant. Just take a test. There's some downstairs. Come on, let's go. And I was like, okay, fine. But I'm not pregnant. But the interesting thing was, like I said, I was always the one that thought that I was pregnant. My husband was always the one that was like, you are not pregnant. And he was always right. This time he was the one that was like, you're pregnant. And I was like, no, I'm not. This was the first time he had ever like suggested I was pregnant, let alone been so confident about the fact that I was. Like, he was confident. It was funny. He said two things gave it away. Boys. So we took it together and we watched as the pink slowly spread over it. You know, it's kind of like a COVID test. And then the control line goes dark first. But I was expecting like a faint line to be on the positive if it was positive, and there was nothing, you know. So we look at it, it goes all the way through, there's nothing, and I was like, see, I'm not pregnant. And he was just like, oh. And so we were talking in the bathroom about who knows what, and a couple minutes passed, and this is why they tell you to wait 5 minutes, but who has the patience? And I look down and there is like the faintest pink line on the test. Like, so faint you could barely see it. And I looked at it and I looked at him and I was like, Ryan? He was like, what? And I was like, I'm pregnant. And it was just like this moment of like disbelief. Like, we just looked at each other and I just let it like sink in what that meant. Like, there was a baby inside of me, you know? It was just like such a happy moment and like so beautiful. I think I was also a little scared, you know? It's a lot. You go from living your whole life as a woman, as a wife, as a daughter, as a sister, and now suddenly you're a mother. You are a mother. This baby will always be yours and you'll always be theirs no matter what. It was crazy. I started tearing up and my husband just told me he knew it. So we found out in the beginning of October, and originally we wanted to keep it a secret from everyone and just tell our families on Christmas by like having them open a present. We thought that would be cute, but ultimately there's no way I could wait that long. Number one, we live with his dad and stepmom temporarily right now, and so I was like, there's no way I can hide morning sickness from them. My mom is a nurse and she actually worked in labor and delivery and has had 9 children of her own. So she's really knowledgeable about all of that. And there were things that I wanted to ask her about, questions I had. So I really wanted to tell her sooner rather than later. And then if we told all of them, obviously we had to tell his mother. So we told all of our parents pretty much right away. With his parents, I wanted to like do something cute, like make a cake and like bring it out after dinner and like put it in front of them and have like a sign that says we're having a baby. But I don't know, we just couldn't wait. So we ended up just telling them. Abby's pregnant. My husband's actually a joker, and so he told them straight up and they didn't believe him. They had to like confirm with me because they thought that he was messing with them. It's their first grandchild and they are so excited and they've just been really supportive. So it was nice to tell them, especially going through all the morning sickness and fatigue of the first trimester and having them understand why. With his mom, I made like a makeshift card where I drew like a little stork holding a little baby package, you know? It wasn't good, but it wasn't horrible either. And I just wrote on the inside, congratulations Grandma and Grandpa, coming June 2024. And they were like so excited too. His mom has step grandbabies, but again, this is her first blood grandbaby. So she's already making burp rags, buying the baby books. It's super, super sweet. And then with my mom, I thought that she was not going to be excited because she has like 18 grandchildren. And so I thought she would just be like, oh, good for you. But actually her reaction was like the cutest of them all. we did the thing where I pretended like I wanted to take a picture with her, and we stood there, and my husband counted down from 3, and instead of taking the picture at 3, I said, I'm pregnant, and she was like screaming. She was like so happy, and like way happier than I expected, because she has so many already, you know. But she told me, she was like, but it's your first, you know. And I guess it was really special to her, and it was just so nice being able to tell her, so I could ask her all my medical questions and just get her support. When I was younger, I used to think that becoming a mom would be a really big burden on me. I used to think that my life would be over. It was a really self-centered mindset to have. I don't know what I wanted to do instead, but now I don't feel like that at all. I feel like this baby is such a blessing. I feel like my life is just beginning, and our family's life is just beginning. My husband and I have had such a wonderful, sweet marriage so far. Like, we're approaching our 4-year anniversary, and it's all been wonderful. I mean, sure, we've had our share of trials, but it's been really sweet just like getting to focus solely on each other and just build a strong foundation. But I feel like this next chapter is going to be even better, because like we have a family. Like, we were a family before, but now we have like babies. it's just really cool, and we're excited. And I just feel like I was so wrong in my thinking before, because before I just wanted to live for myself, and ultimately I think that's empty. And you know, I'm sure I'll have more experience when she gets here, but even already just being a mom, you know, I am a mom now with this baby in my stomach. She's alive, and the little taste of being a mom that I've gotten has just been so much more rewarding than anything else I've ever done. The blessing of carrying a child, watching as a new life forms and grows inside of you, feeling her kick, it's crazy. Seeing her grow on the ultrasounds. There's a part of me that almost wishes that we had gotten started sooner. But, you know, I think everything happens in God's timing. This baby is here now for a reason. And if we had gotten sooner, you know, it wouldn't have been the same baby. And we got her exactly when we were ready for her. So, no regrets, I guess. But it's just been a really, really awesome experience. Well, if you have any advice for a first-time mom, I would love for you to drop it in the comment section below. I'm open to suggestions. Luckily, I have had lots of experience with babies through my 18 nieces and nephews. I spent lots of time around babies, but I know that this is going to be different than babysitting, even for a weekend. A lot different. But I'm ready for it. And ultimately, I trust God to give me the strength that I need. Alright, well, babies do cost money. And I like to save money, and I'm sure you do too. I mean, who doesn't? That's why I encourage you to check out my video on how to cut your grocery bill in half right here next. Hit that subscribe button for more content around simpler living, biblical femininity, and the art of homemaking. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. With love from me and baby.